Here is all my toolboxes, dust and all. Of course, this one was my pride and joy for a long time. It's a snap-on box. But man, I've been looking at these new U.S. General boxes, and finally I put mine on Marketplace, tried to sell them, and Local Boy ended up buying them. And here's what we got for the new ones. Now, I still got a total mess in here because I don't have everything swapped over yet, and I'm still waiting on 2 pieces. I'm getting a end locker right here, a 22-inch end locker for both ends. So it's going to be a pretty big outfit, you know. But as soon as I get the end lockers in and get everything put away, I'll come back and do a toolbox tour. But I just wanted to get this part on here because he's coming to get these red boxes anytime. So I'll be adding the other section to it. So I guess that'll end this video. Hey guys, I know it's been a minute since we put a video out, but I wanted to finalize this up right here. Right here behind me is the green U.S. General Series 3 boxes. Green is my color. If anybody knows me, they know that this bright green is me. My bow's got bright green strings and stuff on it. Just about everything something's got something on it, you know, like my coyote gun, I've got a bright green sling on it. I try to dress everything up that I do, customize it somewhat, and deck it out in green. But I end up selling all of my red boxes. I had I had a 27-inch U.S. General Series 2 roll cabinet. And then I had a U.S. General, may have been a Series 1, I don't know, it was a 42-inch top and bottom, but it was only like 18 inches deep. And then I had a classic snap-on box that I got brand new, heck, probably been 25 years ago, I guess. But everything I had in here was red. I wanted these green ones, so that's what I ended up with. So I'll tell you how much toolbox I got. It's 158 inches. So that's what I've got. New toolbox, 158 inches. And you would think there's a ton of space in here, but I done got it full. You know, I'm a tool lover. I've been collecting tools about my whole life, and really have gotten into it the last few years. But I want to do a toolbox tour and get that out of the way. But hang on, let me get this phone off of here. Okay, we'll start with this end locker. Got a 22-inch end locker here. I've got different stuff in it. There's a couple pieces of Blue Point, which is by Snap-on. I got some cans of refrigerant, cans of consumables, you know, like WD-40, starting fluid, brake cleaner. And then down here, I got everything down here is like specialty tools. It's in boxes. I've got them in there. Then the next shelf down is pretty much the same thing. Specialty tools in boxes. I got a vacuum pump there. Pull out this drawer and I've got Teflon tape, a bunch of rolls. I got some different clips there in those red containers. Safety glasses. And this right here is my Holley Terminator X Max. That's some stuff that came with it. And I got the little bitty screen where you can program it, but I've got the big 7-inch in my truck. This up box here has got an old compression tester in it, which is in really good shape. Let me show you that. I'll tell you the story behind it. That's a compression tester to see if your engine's got compression or not. But this belonged to my father-in-law, which he's passed on. And you can see HT initials on there. That stands for Herbert Turner. He was a really great guy. He done a lot of wrenching and stuff. He worked on farm equipment a whole lot. Okay, so that concludes that end locker. Now, up here, I've got a big, long 1/4-inch bit holder. So I got different things on it. I got the converters where you put for a 3/8 drive, 1/4-inch drive, 1/2-inch drive. Here's some long Torx. Here's some nut drivers here with magnets. Here's some Allens. Here's a few more nut drivers with magnets. This right here is a snap-on soldering gun. This is just a voltage meter. Now this back here is a power probe. That's a really great tool. This back here is that is a Matco puller kit. And this bear with me, guys. Hard to do this with one hand. Yeah, good grief. There we go. That's a diagnostic tool. It's a Top Don Arctic Diagnostic Tool 600S. And that one up there is just a code reader. Then we'll come down to the next drawer. Next drawer's got a bunch of different vice grips in it. Next drawer down. This is an electrical drawer. Here's a Blue Point crimper, blue or snap-on testers, a bunch of electrical tape, too much. Next drawer we got overflow for the large pliers, which I got a large one here. I think that's a, was that a Mac or a Matco? That's a Matco. And this in here is a big old Nipix set. Man, that thing weighs a ton. It's a Nipix channel lock. There's a snap-on one and just some extra stuff in here. There's a metal gauge tester. There's some telescoping magnets, or telescoping mirrors. This is my plier drawer, which is plumb full. Start down here on the end. I got Nipix here, different channel locks. And then these right here are bad son of a bucks. These are, I don't know if they're called mini bolt cutters or what, but they'll flat do it, man. you take and try to cut something like a bolt or something or whatever with anything else, you can't do it. You can put them on there and it'll do it with ease. Right here, I've got a set of Blue Point. Right here's all snap-on. Just different stuff in here. These here are Mac. These are like spark plug wire pullers. There's extendable needle nose and some flat nose. Let's see, did I already do that drawer? No. Okay, this drawer has a bunch of different stuff in here. It's got some drill bits. And then these here are like punches, like whatever size you're doing. Say you got a 3/8 that you're going to do, and if you got something that's already got the other hole in it, you can put that hole in there and hit it with a hammer, and it will mark you right dead in the center. So that's pretty handy sometimes. There's some magnetic nut driver bits, different things back here. Here's a bunch of Clecos in that, some Bosch bits, old Craftsman ones. There's some letters and numbers. And here I've got a bunch of, I don't know what you call them, punches or awls or ice picks, whatever you want to call them. But they're pretty handy a lot of times. There's a trimmer for the edges of metal. These here are, I'm not sure what they're called, but you push them down on a piece of metal and it'll put you a hole in there, on there like a punch, so you can start your drill bit. And there's a bunch of scribes and stuff in there. This drawer has snap-on rotary tools that operate off of air. And then I've got in this is a set of miniature deburring bits by Snap-on. But this stuff comes in handy sometimes. You need the little stuff. And then this one here has got different nut drivers. These here are security bits, just different things. Those has got sets of bits in them. This is like a miniature screwdriver set. All right, then we'll go down here in the big drawer. And I've got, we'll start over here. Got some 1/4-inch little breaker bar in there. There's some overflow sockets that I have. Here's some nut drivers or screwdriver bit. Here's what I like about these. These right here are made by S&K. But what I like so much about them, look at the end of the handle. You can put a ratchet in that and get, you know, a little bit better bite. Then over here we got some torque sockets. We got some Allen keys, got torque bits, more Allen keys, more torque bits. And then over here we got snap-on 1/4-inch drive ratchets. Here's 3 strong arms. All these are snap-on 3/8 drive. There's a inch-pound torque wrench. There's a degree torque adapter. Here's a 1/4-inch torque wrench click type made by Teakton. We'll come over here. Here's a 1/2-inch drive made by Teakton. Then here's 2 1/2-inch drive click types made by Snap-on. Then this, all these are Snap-on in here except for this one. And then up here you got different spark plug wrenches. We've got extensions, 3/8 drive, and then these are 1/2-inch drive, and these are over here are all adapters or swivels. And the next drawer down, we've got wrenches. You know, these are all snap-on. These are snap-on. And then this is an older Craftsman set. This all set here snap-on. So I got quite a few wrenches in there. Next one down has got some long hex key sockets in metric and standard. Over here I got snap-on nut drivers. And then over here we got extensions. We got 1/4 inch, 3/8 drive, 1/2 inch drive, and there's some 3/4 drive. Speed handle in the back. In this drawer we got set of green snap-on screwdrivers. We got this set over here is snap-on. That set's a Matco set. And then this here's some miscellaneous stuff. And here I got my hammer drawer. I got several snap-ons on the end, and then these other ones are not snap-ons. There's some overflow sockets, and there's some strong arm 3/4 drive and a big ratchet 3/4 drive. Bottom drawer, kind of a miscellaneous specialty. Got a couple of brake cylinder, or not brake cylinder, but cylinder homes for an engine. Got a lot of pullers, different sizes. There's some for these two here are for springs in the front end where you can compress them and get them out. That's a slide hammer by Snap-on. There's all the attachments for it. There's a bunch of pickle forks I got in here. And then we'll come over here to the top side. Here is some clamp tight, and that is a nutsert tool, and man, that thing is hard to do. And then sitting up here we got a little anvil, and that belonged to my father-in-law Herbert Turner. And when I got it, it was all rusty, so I cleaned it all up and painted it and just put it here, and it'll never be used again. Over here we got some lights with the chargers and stuff. And then this top drawer, kind of a miscellaneous deal. We got a bunch of pipe cutters on this side, and brake line tools, benders, and flaring tools. And right there's some hooks where you can hook when you take a caliper off. Right here is a caliper tool to decompress a caliper in, where you can put new brake pads on it. These over here are all brake tools. This is for older drum brakes, all these tools. And here's some brake spoons, and here's a tie rod tool. And this one here's got some specialty tools. This is some water pump tools. These are for different sizes, like fuel lines, A&N fuel lines and stuff, to get them off. This right here is a oiler. You can put this down in a small block Chevy where the distributor goes, and then you can hook a drill to it, and that way you can get your oil pressure built back up. Some rivet guns in there. This is a piston ring grinder. So, you know, when you get new piston rings, a lot of times you got to take them down just a little bit. That's for that. Or if you're going to do turbo application, you need to gap those rings quite a bit. Here's a bunch of different sets of Allen keys and torque keys. In this drawer, I got a bunch of marking tools, pencils and markers, and then a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. All these are angle finders. A lot of metal rulers and stuff in the back. It's just like a measuring drawer. This drawer here is for like an air die grinder. You can put these on and put the different pads on. They got different sizes. That's for a small one. That's the next size up. And then over here we got several wire brushes. There's some more back here. And then here's a bunch of deburring bits. And then there's some brushes for different things. And this is my socket drawer. Starting over here, all these through here are 3/8 drive. Then we come over here in the center. These are all 1/4 inch stuff. And then we get over here. These are all 1/2 inch all the way up to here. And then from here back is 3/4 inch drive. See, that's a big, heavy socket right there. And here's my other wrench drawer. On my stubbies back here, there's some stubby older Craftsmans. Here's some snap-on ratcheting stubbies. And then here's some S&K stubbies and metric. And then here we have Blue Point, which is made by Snap-on, and they're ratcheting wrenches in metric and standard. Right here we got some line wrenches, which are S&K. This set here is made by the older Craftsman when they used to make something. These here are older Craftsman ratcheting wrenches. There's a Craftsman set of metrics. Those are Craftsman. This drawer has punches and chisels and files. I don't know why I got so many of those, but I got them. This drawer has picks in it. These are Snap-on, used to get like hoses and stuff off. Here's a miniature set of picks. These are Snap-on, these are Icon. Here's another set of like getting hoses and Carter keys out. And this is made by Mayhew, which is good stuff. And then back here we got some 1/4 inch drive sets, which are older and I just won't turn loose of them. I've had them a long time. And then there's 2 sets of deep well, metric and standard. Down here's an air drawer. These are made by Mac, which that's a long tube air hammer, and that's a bad sunbuck too. And there's a long cutoff. Here's a short cutoff. Here's some die grinders, all made by Mac. Here's some chisels, different things, some different air tools over there. There's an air file down here. There's a digital air gauge. Okay, down here is kind of a miscellaneous drawer. In that corner got some different, cheaper die grinding, air die grinder. Over here we got a bunch of different oil filters wrenches. And over here we got a bunch of adjustable wrenches and a few pipe wrenches under that. Then I got some bolt cutters, and that one does swedging tool. And these in here are snap-on, spanner wrenches. And then over here we have a bunch of interior, like pry bars made out of plastic and stuff, where you don't scar everything up. Next one we got, there's some mini files. There's a thread file. Here's some spark plug gappers, a bunch of feeler gauges. And then we got a bunch of chain tools back here where you can knock a link out of a chain and put a master link in it. Up here we got razor knives, scrapers, razor cutters, extra blades for them. Up here we got snap ring tools. And you know, I bought this one here at a yard sale. And it didn't even look like it had been much more used. And it's made by Lawson. And if you look them up, man, these things are super expensive. And I didn't hardly give nothing for it at a yard sale. Okay, and then we come down here. We got chargers, 20 volt. And in here I've got I tell you what, this here is probably a very underrated tool. But I bought that, and I've been putting like a 3/8 or 1/2 inch adapter on it and using it for a impact wrench, and it's pretty daggone bad. I mean, it'll flat tighten stuff up and bust stuff loose. But this right here is a medium size 1/2 inch impact. This here is a 20 volt drill. This here is a rigid impact. And this right here is the big boy. Now that thing will flat break some stuff loose. It's the big impact by DeWalt. Okay, I don't think I've done these drawers over here. These are my 12 volt stuff in this drawer. Go down here, I've got a little 12 volt impact driver, which I really like. Got a 12 volt drill. And then here's a Bosch impact and drill. And then that one back there is a snap-on little driver. Okay, let's go down to the end cabinet. In cabinet, I have some towels in there. I've got, there's a snap-on bag. That drawer cabinet in the very back, it's got some wire terminals. These right here are full of different wire terminals. All that's wire terminals. This drawer down here's got just different stuff in it, like that's a set. That's a bunch of electrical stuff there. You can trace wires with that one set, and then that other thing, those blue things are for putting on TV cable ends. And I got some tape in there, some overflow on wire terminals, a label maker, and there's some old small slide hammers. And I got some stuff hanging on the door, which comes in pretty handy. And that's going to about do it for our toolbox tour. You know, if you folks like seeing this type of content, please like, comment, and subscribe, because that will eventually help me out in the long run if I keep making these videos, which I need to. A lot of times, you know, I just get so busy that I don't even think about it. But I'm going to get better at that. I got a lot of stuff to do. I had some health issues with some kidney stones and some surgeries, but I'm about to hopefully get through all that. So, appreciate you watching, and don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe.